So up next, Larken Rose. This is very special for us. Larken Rose was part of the Free Your Mind Conference 1 and 2. He had a special presentation lined up for us, and it's been a while since he's been publicly speaking, and especially in Philadelphia. So this is very special for us to have Larken back out. Give it up for Larken Rose, everybody.
I spend a lot of time arguing with people, as anybody who knows me already knows. And I mean philosophical arguing and debating, not just randomly screaming at people for the fun of it. But in a lot of arguments, they fit a basic template, which is you get two sides each arguing for their own interests and against the interests of the other side. So, for example, if you go into any courtroom, whether it's a prosecution or a civil case or anything else, you have one side arguing, for example, they should have to give me a huge pile of money. And the other side is arguing, no, we shouldn't. One side's going to win, one side's going to lose. And that is how most arguments are. People being advocates for their interests and hell with whatever the other person wants or wanted to get out of it or any of that. Politics, for example, is always that. It is always a win-lose scenario, where if I get my guy in, he's going to use the power of the state to do what I want and to give me what I want and not what you want. And if your guy gets in, he's not going to do what I want. He's going to serve your interests. So you get this pathetic, depressing spectacle of these mass groups of peasants going to the king, insisting that the king violently dominate everybody else, but for these peasants' benefits and at the expense of those peasants over there. And what's really sad about that is that amounts to the peasants demanding their own enslavement, because in politics, both sides always lose. You may lose slightly less than the other side does, but you will be taxed, you will be controlled, you will be ruled, even if your guy or your party wins. So it's depressing to me to watch people argue in favor of their own enslavement, and the only discussion they have, the only disagreement they have is which guy should be on the throne. Well, I refer to what I do as anti-politics because it doesn't fit that template. And people are so used to arguing politics where they're trying to get their ideas forced on everybody else by way of government that often it takes them a while to even comprehend what I'm saying, which is, I don't want my guy on the throne. I don't want your guy on the throne. I don't want there to be a throne there for anyone to be on. And what makes it extra ironic is in most of the arguments I have with people and philosophical debates, I am arguing in favor of their freedom. They are arguing in favor of their own enslavement. Because to them, the only choice they ever had was which of these two slave masters is going to own me. And the idea that nobody should, that government is never legitimate. No, they aren't leaders. No, they don't represent us. They're a ruling class. And as long as we are bickering over which one, Humpty Dumpty, is going to rule over us, or Tweedledum and Tweedledee, we all lose. And so it's sort of strange that when I argue, yes, for my interest, because I want to be free too, but I'm also arguing in their interest so that they can be free, to never be forced to fund anything they oppose, to never be forcibly attacked for nonviolent behavior, whether it's the war on drugs or 8 million other things you could bring up. But people are so stuck in the mindset of being subjects of a ruling class that most people can only comprehend who's going to sit on the throne next. And if you say there shouldn't be a throne, they don't even know how to process it. Now, normally, political debates have to do with physical, external, either freedom or restrictions of freedom. Because that's what we can see, that's what we deal with in our daily life. You get taxed, which means the ruling class wants your money and they'll hurt you if you don't pay up. They write laws, they write their drug laws. If they catch you with a plant that the politician said you're not allowed to have, psychos with guns will come and put you in a cage. And so there's obviously a very good reason to speak out against that and condemn that. That is physical lack of freedom. But today I wanted to talk about something deeper than that and beneath that, and this is as good a forum as any to talk about that, which is the spiritual enslavement that has to come first. Because when you get an entire population of people and the only argument they can comprehend is, who will be my slave master for the next 4 years, they are not even free inside their own heads. The physical restriction is not the problem. It's a symptom of their spiritual enslavement. And why would anybody rational argue in favor of their own subjugation by a ruling class? Well, it has a lot to do with fear, and it has a lot to do with propaganda and indoctrination. The ruling class needs you to believe that you need them. There's a great line in V for Vendetta. We need them to remember how much they need us. Well, we don't. I don't give a crap who's in Washington, D.C. I don't need them. And you don't need them either. But so many people are scared into believing that we're either all going to be victimized by crime, or we're going to be blown up by terrorists, or invaded by a foreign army, or die of diseases, or die of poverty, if not for a ruling class controlling the world. It's always a lie. It's the same lie they've been telling for thousands of years. Freaking Plato, 2,000 years ago. When the tyrant first appears, he appears as a protector. Always. This is nothing new. This is all of human history. They have to pretend that they are there to serve us, and whenever their solution is, just give us power and we'll protect you, run the other way. They are not doing that for your benefit. Now, I'm going to make an assertion here, and then I'm going to explain why I make it. The belief in authority is the essence of evil. Now, I'm not religious, and I don't mean that in any biblical sense. And I don't just mean the belief in authority can be used for bad. I don't even just mean it's something that's kind of evil. I mean it is the essence of evil, and I will explain why. If we want to know what is anti-humanity, first you have to know what's pro-humanity. What's the good thing about humanity? And I know some people use the term human in a negative sense, like I'm only human. I'm talking about the good sense. What is it that makes humanity something worthwhile? It's when people deal with each other by way of love and compassion, where they have a conscience, where they have a free will, and they interact voluntarily, like this, for example, instead of by way of violence. And most people, a lot of people are misguided. They have weird understandings of reality. They have warped perceptions. But most people are trying to be good. They are trying to figure out the right thing to do and then do it. And again, their perceptions may be off, so the end result may be something totally twisted. Yes, even terrorists think they're doing something good when they blow up a bunch of innocent people. How warped their brain has to be to think that that's a good thing. Yeah, that's sad. But even they are thinking that they're the good guys. So people are trying to be good. They don't always succeed, but they're trying to. So if that's humanity, people exercising their conscience and their free will to get along, what is the opposite of humanity? The opposite of humanity, the enemy of humanity, is when people throw away their free will. They shut down their individual judgment. They shut down their conscience in favor of blindly believing or obeying somebody else. That is the belief in authority. It's the idea that I shouldn't judge for myself. Who am I to judge? I can't decide for myself right and wrong. I can't decide what I should do. I need somebody else to tell me. I want to defer to somebody else, a book, a church, a guru, a government. And then if I just play by the rules and do as I'm told, I'm good, right? I don't have to think. I don't have to judge. I don't have to use my conscience or my judgment. I'll just obey, and then I'm good, right? No, that is the worst sin you could possibly make is to throw away your conscience and your free will in favor of deferring somebody else. And if you want the perfect example of that, it's war. Have you ever seen a war between a bunch of people on both sides who take responsibility for their own actions, who judge right from wrong for themselves and rely on their conscience? No, you haven't, and you never frickin' will. You see people who believe in authority and follow orders and think that just following orders makes it okay to commit murder. That is the evil of the belief in authority. That they would rather blindly obey something that heinous, go murder that person that you don't know anything about. They would rather do that than rely on their own conscience. Now the question is, why the hell would anybody do that? It's because it's scary being a responsible, self-owning human being. Because to take responsibility for your choices and actions means responsibility. It means you are to blame for what you do. And forever, the agents of evil have used the excuse, hey, just following orders. You know, the Nuremberg trials, Nazi Germany, you can't blame us. We were just doing as we were told. And the rest of the world said, we can blame you. You shouldn't have followed those orders. You get to die. And now everybody says, well, glad that's been established. Every freaking cop you will ever meet uses the Nuremberg defense. Every stinking one. I don't make the law. I just idiotically, violently impose it on you. Whatever the politicians tell me to do to you, I will. Because I have given up my humanity in favor of being a pawn of somebody else, because I'm too much of a fucking coward to take responsibility for my actions. So I put on this uniform and badge and feel tough and bad and pretend that nothing I do is my fault. That is what the belief in authority leads to. It's why there is oppression. It's the same in every country. It's why there is war. It's the same in every country. Those things are always done by people who've decided, I'm not to judge. I'm not responsible for what I do because I'm just obeying somebody else. And it can be a church, it can be a religion. These days, more often than not, the violence is committed by agents of the state, of government. But yeah, in some places in the world, people still kill you and say, well, my religion taught me to do that. So you can't blame me. Yes, I can. Because you chose to obey. And this is the ultimate lie that people don't understand when they believe in government. The lie is that you can evade responsibility by deferring to somebody else. You can't. You're still responsible because you chose to defer to somebody else. You chose to imagine them to be authority. You chose to obey. Hey, I'm just following orders. Really? I chose not to follow fucking orders. You chose to follow orders. That was your choice. It's your responsibility. You did it. The fact that you want to imagine away your humanity and say, I didn't have free will, I didn't have judgment, just makes you pathetic as well as evil. And you look at the way cops talk and you'll see that. They say, well, this is the law. Some mysterious thing called the law is pulling my puppet strings and making me beat the crap out of you or arrest you or something. It's not me. You can't blame me. I'm just a programmed robot for that thing over there. Being a human being is scary. You start with the mush between your two ears, and you have to figure out the whole universe with that. You have to figure out right and wrong, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how you treat other people. Now, a lot of it's pretty obvious, and most of us agree on the basics that, don't run around attacking people or robbing people or stuff like that. But yeah, you'll come on positions where you're not sure what to do or where you might not dare to do what you know is the right thing. And if the responsibility is on you, that's scary. What if you do the wrong thing? You don't know everything. None of us know everything. We're always still learning, still trying to understand stuff. What if we accidentally, acting on our own, using our own free will and our judgment, do something stupid or immoral? Oops. That is the fear that people try to evade by believing in authority and say, well, I'm a law-abiding taxpayer. That's all I need to be a good person. No, That's not what you need to be. That's what you need to be to not be a human being anymore. Now you're just a robot. They wind you up, they program you, you do what they tell you to. You're not a human being anymore. You shut down your own free will. You shut down your own individual judgment. You shut down your own conscience. And before anybody wants to tell how proud they are to be a law-abiding taxpayer, who do you think funded every side of every war in the history of humanity? Law-abiding taxpayers. In Nazi Germany, in communist China, in Soviet Russia, the government didn't pay for the tanks and the bombs and the weapons. The people did, the productive people who were proud to pay their taxes and obey the law. And hey, I'm a good person because I do what authority tells me. The world would be a hell of a lot better place with more criminals. And I don't mean people who don't recognize the self-ownership of other people. I mean people who don't recognize the imaginary authority of ruling classes. Because I don't need politicians to tell me that murder is bad and theft is bad, and I hope you don't either. And they're not bad because politicians wrote it down on a piece of paper. Murder was bad even if they didn't write that down. Even when they write down a law that says, hey, if you put on a uniform and commit murder on the other side of the world for us, then it's okay. No, it's still wrong. So the combating of physical injustice is what we see a lot. And sometimes that is a necessity where, you get to a point, whether it's war or violent oppression by way of the police or whatever, where somebody is given a choice between you either get imprisoned or die or you forcibly resist so-called authority. And in that case, I highly recommend you forcibly resist so-called authority. I made a video that was designed to offend people and shock them until they actually watched it. And then most people go, yeah, it's actually hard to disagree with. The video is called When Should You Shoot a Cop? And the first thing it says is everyone's going to go, oh my God, did you just ask that? And then the video explains, think to yourself, is there any point at which you think people should forcibly resist law enforcement? And you don't have to use right here, right now as the example. Like Nazi Germany. Do you think it was good for people to resist the SS and the Gestapo, and that was the law enforcement? Well, yeah, in that case. All right, so the answer isn't never. And then you have to walk down the line and think, how bad does it have to get before I would say, no, I'm not going to let you do this to me, or I'm not going to let you do this to my neighbor. Just thinking that is existentially disturbing to most people because we've been programmed to think that obedience to authority is a virtue. And it's not. Obedience to authority is the ultimate sin. It is giving away your humanity. And the ultimate lie is that there's any way to escape personal responsibility. You can pretend to, and I usually try to avoid talking about religion with people because for the most part I don't care what they believe in religiously if they're not going to violently attack people. I do care about the religious belief in government, by which every single voter in this country tries to have me forcibly robbed for whatever they think is important. The left wants me forcibly robbed for a welfare state. The right wants me forcibly robbed for a huge military. I want none of them forcibly robbed for anything, because that's peaceful coexistence. That's being a moral human being instead of just a peasant bickering over whether to have a right jackboot or a left jackboot on our throat for the next 4 years. You can't escape personal responsibility for what you do. You can pretend to, which is what all cops and all soldiers do. They pretend they're not to blame for what they actually do, but they are. And it's scary to come to the realization that in your life, inside your head, as limited as your understanding or knowledge or anything else may be, you are the final decider. It is up to you. It has to be up to you to determine right from wrong and to act accordingly. Nobody can do that for you. Now, you can listen to talks or you can read books or you can, hear whatever other opinions you want, and some of them will go, yeah, I understand that, and that makes sense to me. My brain says that is truth, but it's still your brain making that decision. And it's still your responsibility to choose what's true and what's false, to weed it out from all the 8 zillion opinions out there. And you are responsible for what you decide and how you act. And the ultimate irony is the fear of self-ownership. People fearing their own humanity, scared of the idea that, hey, I'm just me. There's 8 billion other people on this planet. I have to figure out how to behave. I can't defer it. I can't hand it off to somebody else. I can't just be somebody else's robot. The fear of that has led to more evil than anything else. Because like I said, you won't ever see a war between people who do that. You only see a war between people who believe in authority and says, my nation or my church or my whatever told me to go kill people who aren't like me. That's why there is war. And it's the only reason there is war. So, no matter what you want, no matter what you want to believe, the responsibility to be a human being is on you. It will always be on you. And as scary as that may be, I promise the alternative is a lot worse. And I'll end with something extra offensive that I've said before. And I don't offend people just for the fun of it, but I do offend people because I think if people are comfortable with everything you said, they can't learn anything from it. Even if you think I'm wrong after the fact, you still might think about it and learn and still think I'm wrong. But it might make you think. The suicide rate among soldiers is extremely high. Now, some people say, well, it's because they go into war and they see really horrible things and they decide to kill themselves. I don't buy that for a minute. If I saw something really horrible, why would that make me want to kill myself? However, if I had done something really horrible and was suddenly hit with the reality of the evil I had committed because I was just following orders, yeah, I could imagine killing myself. The soldier cannot be a moral human being. His job requires him to follow orders. Here's the offensive part. Given the choice between a soldier continuing to be a soldier and killing himself, I suggest you kill yourself. And here's why. If you're going to kill your soul and shut down your judgment and shut down your conscience and shut down your free will, if you're going to kill your soul, then take your body with it. Because when you leave your body behind after killing your soul, it's going to be used as a robot for the most evil people on the planet to do the most evil things imaginable. Now, of course, I would rather them take the third option. Embrace your humanity. Stop being a fucking soldier. Be a human being. The two are mutually exclusive. Stop being a fucking law enforcer. Be a human being. The two are mutually exclusive. Take responsibility for your own actions. Stop volunteering to be a pawn for whoever happens to be the best liar and crook this time around. So yeah, humanity is scary. It's why most people are too scared to exercise it. The end result will be a lot better. Choose the scary path of humanity instead of the comfortable path, the evil path of subverting your own judgment to an imaginary external authority. Thank you.
All right. Larkin Rose knocked that one out of the park. Give it up for Larkin Rose. Grand slam.